All right. Marriott, I see you. Welcome. So let's get to it. My name is Ola. Yes, my name is Ola. We're going to talk today about the US real estate at deep discounts. So I wanted to get, because I have some content to cover here, I want to make sure I get into it right away so we don't go overboard with time. But let's just get into it. Again, today we're talking about US real estate at deep discounts, how to avoid negative cash flow and build wealth. I'm bringing 20 years of experience into this. So bear with me. I will be going through a lot of content. I'll share a little bit of my story. I will. But I will share more of the stories as we go along. Okay, so if you're brand new here, if you're watching this and you're brand new here, please subscribe to the channel. I will come back weekly to talk about this stuff. I can talk about real estate forever, actually. Okay, and again, if you're brand new here, those of you that are part of this channel, the algorithm will take a while before it finds you. So it is what it is, but I hope it finds you. But if you're brand new here, I have written two books on real estate. The first one I wrote was in 2018 called Smart Real Estate Wholesaling, and the second one was written in 2019. It's called Real Estate Money Secrets. Those books, if you want them, I'll make them available later on. Okay, but you can find them everywhere on Amazon, anywhere where you normally find books. All right. So without any further ado, we're just going to talk about real estate. I've got a few things to share with you. All right. Like I said earlier on, my name is Ola, and I am the founder of My Empire Pro. My Empire Pro, we engage in a lot of coaching and consulting activities. My Empire Pro was actually founded in 2014 December. We started. We kind of like transitioned from a different company. Transition. We just basically restructured things back in 2015 January, and then we had it on our consulting coaching to all the other activities that we have going on. All right, but my personal story goes as far back as 2005. I closed my first deal in 2005 December. It was a $10,000 net. It was supposed to be a $20,000 net. If you go back to the homepage of this channel, you will see some free courses that we already put up there. They're basically evergreen. Okay. Let me share my screen with you. They're evergreen. If you want to catch up with some of the stuff that we do with regards to real estate, those will be some good materials to catch up with. I promise you today, I don't have anything to sell. I just want to share. And like I said, I'm going to come back every week. I don't have anything to sell. We used to sell courses. Even the books, if you want me to send you the links to the digital versions for free, I'll send it to you for free. At this stage in the business, we're looking to partner with people that are serious people. Okay, we're looking to partner with serious people who want to make some serious money in real estate. But particularly, we also want to help people build their rental portfolios the right way. Okay, we want to help people build their rental portfolios the right way. Too many people are getting in trouble with real estate, overbuying, overpriced real estate, and you know it's not going to get any better. So this is the homepage of this particular channel you're watching. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe. It's free. You can see here there's a digital marketing certified. This is just one of the, this is my, what is it, like fourth book. I think this is my fourth book actually, but this is the video version of it. But you can see there's a free wholesaling 101 course here. Tons of content in it, almost an hour for each video. But there's another one called Free Wholesale Real Estate Course. These ones are short, very straight to the point. This is also a good one that you might want to watch in collaboration with a friend over there. This is another one, Facebook ads for real estate investors, really teaches you the mindset behind everything we do here. Anyway, so let me not dive too deep into that. But on the homepage, you'll find those resources. Hey, Abby, good to see you, Abby. All right, so now let's talk about real estate. This is United States real estate. You could be anywhere in the world, and find value in this. Okay, you'll find a lot of value in it. However, I will be speaking United States terminologies, and but the concept is useful anywhere where people actually have to pay money to keep a roof over their head. Okay, and as I said earlier on, I spent the last 20 years in real estate. Okay, the first 3 years of my career heavily in real estate. The rest of it was in a lot of different types of partnerships and stuff like that. The last 15 years heavily in digital marketing. I've combined both to create what we call a deal finding machine that works in today's market. So if you've paid attention to this channel over the past few weeks, we've talked a lot about AI, right? And what AI represents in today's world. And it goes over the head of most people, right? But when we start to apply it, when it comes down to application, you start to realize that it's actually connected to every part of our lives already, you know. But more importantly, I want to teach from a standpoint of becoming a producer by way of the real estate industry today. Okay. So with that being said, please help me hit like if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button, share, subscribe. Okay. Now, here's what most investors are doing. Okay, they're dropping $100,000. They call themselves investors, not really. You could just call them a landlord. There's a difference between a landlord and an investor, by the way, just in case you don't know. Well, now you know. There's a difference between a landlord and an investor. Okay, a landlord is just a landlord, like a super. Okay, we call them super here, superintendent of a building. All right, if the toilet breaks at night or something like that, that's the person you call, right? They're supposed to be making money from the building. They own it. They own it, but usually the first few years is not fun because they are pouring a lot of money. They've already poured a lot of money, and they continue to pour a lot of money into the house. Usually one house, right? But that house is draining them. Oftentimes, when it's their first time, they usually have to eventually get rid of such houses. In fact, I was just talking to somebody earlier on today. The first three properties, they had to get rid of it because and they got rid of it, and they were lucky enough to just about break even. All right, and a lot of people are getting in those kind of trouble. So most investors are dropping $100,000 just to lose $1,500 monthly. All right, so let me show you this. Okay, now today what I really want to do, right, this is for anyone. Long gone, long gone are those days when I will say I will shy away. I say, hey, it's not for everyone. No, this is for everyone. Okay, if you want to build wealth, there's no way around real estate. Okay, because basically you'll be burning money away. Okay, if you're not leveraging, the keyword is leverage. If you're not leveraging real estate, but you have to do it the smart way. Okay, so today I will actually be exposing you to the smart way, which you can start for as low as $10,000 and generate profits before even owning any house. To be honest with you, before owning any rental properties, and then you can actually then turn around and use the same machine to start owning rentals with built-in equity only. Okay, so most people go into the market, they go talk to a real estate agent. I have a lot of real estate agent friends. Okay, and they are useful. They are very, very useful in buying your house that you want to live in. But when it comes to investment, most real estate agents, they don't know anything about what I'm about to share with you. Okay, most of them make $8,000 a year. They're just looking to make the next commission, and rightfully so. Okay, so it's not their job. They're supposed to protect your interests somewhat, but somewhat. Okay, at the end of the day, the goal is to make a commission, you know, and especially the newbies, the new ones, they're usually too naive. They just want to close the deal, right? And you can't blame them, right? So the more experienced one, they know that the game is about helping more people, so more people can come back and buy more. But you know, greed is also a bastard. So anyway, so the smart way is to actually find a way to find deals, potentially make profits in the midst of finding deals, and then you keep the best ones for your portfolio, right? But most people that are trying to become an investor, they're very excited. They're super excited about owning a real estate investment. So they just, anything that is, most of them just get surprised at closing with all these different add-ons of responsibilities. Some of them are financial, some of them, the worst of them, are not financial. So again, Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. So by the end of this session, you know how to identify discounted deals, how to find them, how to identify them, how to profit from wholesale assignments. We call them wholesale assignments. If you need me to define anything that I'm saying here today, I will spend some time on them. But it's called wholesale assignments because you find wholesale deals, you assign them to other investors that may have the resources, or they might have viable ways of using those properties. It's not good for your portfolio because a lot of these properties are going to throw you into negative cash flow, negative equity right off the bat, immediately, right? So and then yes, you'll be able to gain access to properties with built-in equity. All right. So the fastest, safest, and smartest way to build wealth in the United States real estate right now is through wholesale assignment deals and selective. I call them selective portfolio acquisition because why? Because you profit from cash first, then equity without negative cash flow risk. So that's going to be something unique to what you're learning from me here today. All right. That's going to be a very, very special situation today. All right. So let's keep going. So I have a question for you. Those of you, if you want to engage, feel free. What real estate investment strategies were you familiar with? For the most part, maybe even go further to tell me which one of them are you most attracted to. There are many, many, many inside of the book Real Estate Money Secrets. I covered all of them, all the different real estate investment strategies there is. I covered all of them here. So most of you are probably more familiar with what I said earlier, which is rentals, right? Rental properties. Most of you are probably more familiar with rental properties, right? Right. So there's a concept in real estate that we always say exit before entry. Most people, they enter before they exit, right? What we mean by that is that you need to know your numbers. Well, most people will actually claim they know the numbers, but they usually don't do. There are some nuances in those numbers that they usually don't cover, right? Might say I only know landlording and REIT. That's real estate investment trusts, right? Yes, that's also a viable. If you have a lot of money to just throw at the market and just wait for it to mature and become profit later on, those are all good, but there are many, many other strategies out there. Now most of those strategies require your full-time attention as well, but landlord actually requires your full-time attention, because if a toilet breaks at night, yes, you might be called to come and fix a toilet at night. So, and if you don't want to go, that means you're willing to spend some money for a handyman to go out there and go and fix it. Or maybe you want to keep a handyman on a payroll, right? So yeah, most people know about landlord, right? Landlord is actually a full-time job, and hopefully you're making money, right? Again, it's different from an investor. But there are other strategies out there. Landlord will fall under the category of buy and rent. We actually have the category of buy and own, because if you are going to pay rent, why not just pay rent into equity and be building equity, right? Because you will spend money on keeping a roof over your head anyway. But we also have wholesaling and short sales. We have buy, fix, and flip, which is you actually buy to fix it up and then you put it back on the market. This is where you need the realtors to make some commission and help you sell the property, right? We also have buy, fix, and rent, right? We also have subject to and rent to own. There's some other creative strategies out there that you don't actually need to put any money down, right? We also have what we call the mortgage notes. Mortgage notes, you can actually buy mortgage notes that these are promissory notes created against your property in exchange for a loan, right? So those are some of the things that that are out there. But again, like I just said, in my opinion, coming off of this last 20 years, from what I've seen and the kind of trouble that people are getting into, the fastest, the safest, the smartest way to build wealth, especially when it comes to United States real estate, is through wholesale assignment deals and selective portfolio acquisition. But I'm sure you're asking, I know what you're thinking, like, what is wholesale? What is wholesale? Well, Wholesale is pretty similar to what you might know as wholesale in any other type of trade before. Wholesale versus retail. Wholesale, you get it at a cheaper, you get any kind of product or service at a cheaper discount for the purpose of reselling to others. The purpose of reselling it to other people is a key factor there. Now, in this case, you can resell the best one of them to you, right? Because you really found a really steep discount. So if you found a property at 40 cents on a dollar, 50 cents on a dollar, that means 50% of the actual today's market value, right? Sometimes they are just such a sweet. It's in your location, a fine location, it's built-in equity, and your finances are in the best position to secure that property for your own portfolio. You secure it, right? So you got it at a wholesale price, but then you're choosing to secure it. Now, if you follow my lead here, you're going to find tons of them. And you're probably not going to have the resources to secure all of them, but you'll be able to flip those properties. I don't want to use the word flip, but wholesale them, assign the wholesale contract to other investors for what we call a wholesale assignment fee, right? So wholesale assignment fee would go anywhere from $10,000 and up, averaging somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000. Okay, so I closed the first 24 months of me in the business. I told you I closed my first deal in December 2005. Okay, right out of college, I finished my master's degree that very summer, and I got to work. I wasn't too serious about looking for a job with my engineering degrees. I just really didn't belong in that world till today. It's a world that I just don't belong in. Most of my friends are. But anyway, I got to work. I really found it fascinating. A friend of mine invited me to some kind of seminar. Before I knew it, I was all the way in. I found like these two mentors, Anthony and Bob, and before you knew it, I partnered with them. And then I had secured about three different contracts. But in the midst of those three contracts still being worked on, I closed my first deal by myself. Then I went on to continue to partner with my mentor for those three deals, and then I closed those three deals within the next 3 to 4, 5 months or so after that. And all these deals, these last three deals, average around between $15,000 to $25,000 each one of them net. I just bought the property and sold them right away, right? And then over the next 24 months after that, I closed about 31 different deals like that. So today, I still think I should have kept some of those properties, but these were properties $150,000, $200,000. Some of them were $85,000. Those same properties today are probably around somewhere between $400,000 to $700,000. Okay, but hey, I didn't have the resources back then. It was back then. That was just back then, right? So that's how I got into the game. But I have three secrets I want to share with you today. Three secrets, okay? The first secret number one, why retail rentals are broken. Retail rentals, why are they broken? All right, so I'm going to go here. Let's go here. I'm going to share this. All right, here we go. All right, so this software I'm looking at is what we call PropStream. PropStream, you can find it at my Empire Pro. You can take a trial of it, my Empire Pro /PropStream. All right, so I'm just gonna go to a city like I'm just gonna go to Union County, no Union, New Jersey. Okay, Union, New Jersey. These are some of the local towns around me. Okay, that I know have rental properties. Okay, all right. So I'll go to Union County. I'm gonna look for all right, so I'm just clicking this filter right here. I'm going to click on MLS, right? MLS stands for multiple listing systems. Is basically where the licensed real estate agents, this is where they list all the properties for sale. The same properties you'll find on Zillow or any of those platforms, realtor.com. I can easily filter them down here, right? So on market, I want to say yes, I want it to be on the market, right? So it's already telling me that there are 246 properties in Union, New Jersey on the market. And I want it to be active. The MLS status should be active, right? Listing type, I want it to be for sale, only for sale, right? Days on the market, I'm just going to leave those blank, leave those blank, leave those blank. And I know the market, so I'm just going to say anything above $400,000. because there might be properties listed under that, but these are usually distressed, dilapidated, vacant properties that might be broken in already. Okay, so now it's filtered it down to 93 properties, right? Let me see. Okay, there's one more thing I want to do. I want to put it to say, if we go under property details, okay, property details, I want it to have at least 4 bedrooms. That means usually in those area, no, not in the in union, maybe not in union, but I'll say at least 5 bedrooms. I want it to be at least 2 units, and the data here doesn't work appropriately, so I have to put two. Let me go back to property details. Property details. Okay, jump out up here. Okay, here you go. Okay, up here. All right, so here I will say at least 5 bedrooms. Aha. So it's filtered it down to 16 properties. Okay. So let me see what that looks like. Okay. So we can see the $700,000 here on 584 Lehigh Avenue. We see another one here. So I'm looking for multi-family properties. Okay. I'm looking at the pictures over here. Okay. So this one says $749,000, $999. So I just clicked into it. Okay, this one looks like a one-family house. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for multi-family. Let's go back down here. You go. You know what? It's probably best for me to go to, let's go to Hillside, New Jersey. All right. It's still going to keep my filters, but to change the location. There you go. All right, so I have 7 properties in Hillside, New Jersey. This one says 715,000. Let me see the picture. Okay, this looks like a 2-family, a 2-unit. 7 bedrooms. It doesn't tell me the number of bathrooms. Let me just look at the pictures. Okay, yeah, I can see 2 doors. When you see 2 doors, that's typically a 2-family house. One door goes upstairs to the unit upstairs, and the other door goes downstairs. All right, so this is an example of what I'm talking about, right? So we have this property, 1435 Leslie Street in Hillside. Okay, and now if we purchase this property at, let's just say, they're saying it's worth $707,000. That's just based off of the basic comparables, right, in the area. And hold on, let me make sure I'm with you guys. All right, good. All right, so $707,000 this property is worth right now. But what is it listed for? If I go under this tab, MLS detail here, it's actively on the market since they just listed it August 19th for $715,000, right? So if I purchase this property, $715,000, okay. Hold on 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Here we go. All right, so let's use calculator.net. Let's say I purchase it for $715,000, right? And I put a down payment of 20% down, okay? And then a 30-year loan. I'm just going to be conservative here and say 8.5% interest rate. People are getting more than that, right? All right, property taxes is just going to estimate some property taxes and stuff like that. I'm going to click calculate. All right, so I'm going to end up with a mortgage payment of $4,398. Okay, property taxes is saying about $715. Let me just look it up here real quick. So if we go back here, we can look up the property taxes under property details. If you scroll down here, it tells me what the property tax is. This is New Jersey. Again, some of you might be looking at this. Property taxes says $10,000 and $16. $10,016, right? So some of you might be saying, well, that's high for taxes. Well, it is high. This is New Jersey. It's not about being high. It's about that's just a number. So I'm just going to replace that. I'm just going to replace that and recalculate. Okay. Bottom line is that I have a homeowner insurance. We're just going to leave that number like that. Other costs. Other costs, like what other costs? I'm just other costs like maintenance. Let's call it maintenance, right? Because this is a multi-family. This is purely for investment. I'm talking about investment properties only, not the house you live in. The house you live in is the house you live in, right? So we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about investments only. I'm going to put a 35% cost here. We calculate that might be too much. Yeah, it's too much. Let's see here. Let's just, it's a 35% of the $4,000 of whatever the rent is. That's what I'm looking for. So let me just go ahead and put this back at maybe 3. Okay. All right. So we're looking at yeah, about $7,000. Let's be conservative. Let's just be optimistic. Let's say it's not that much. Let's put it at 1.5. Okay. It's probably that much, but let's just pretend like it's not that much. All right. So we have other costs at $893 per month. Property taxes $834. Okay, 4,000, 4,000. Okay, so we're gonna end up with a total out of pocket every month for the next 30 years, $6,251. Okay, 6,250, something like that. $6,251.60. Okay, but what kind of rent can we get from this property? That's the next question, right? What kind of, because it's again for rental, we want it to, ideally we like it to be positive cash flow. And some people might be like, well, it's not a big deal as long as you're paying escrow, but this is a second property. You still have to pay your rent and your livelihood. You want to travel, take your children, family. You might have a college kid around the corner like me, right? So what is the typical rent on this property right here? Let me see if they're suggesting anything here. They're saying the typical rent is $1,462 per unit. Okay, let's pretend that's per unit. So let's even say they're gonna get, that's 2 units. So they're gonna get about, let's just say $3,000. Okay, let's go back here again. Remember, we're talking about why the retail rentals are broken. The realtors will not do this with you. They will not do this with you. The rent is showing, Marriott, the rent is showing $1,462. $1,462 per unit. So if you multiply that by 2, we can probably get, I don't know, we'll get let's be nice. Let's call it $3,000. Let's just round up the number. So imagine paying out of pocket $6,251. The only rent that can come out of this property is $3,000. Are you guys following me? If you're following me, let me know. Okay, $3,000 is all that can come in from it. $6,000 is what's gonna come out of your pocket every month. Okay, it's not looking good, right? It's not looking good for the next 30 years. And you purchased this property at $715,000. What was your down payment? What was your down payment? Your down payment was what is 20% of 715? 20% of $715,000. 100, you put a down payment of $143,000 down for this, and then you're collecting negative $3,000 plus that have to come out of your pocket to maintain this every single month. Now, people that can afford that kind of money every single month, do you think they're buying this kind of property? Probably not. So how do people do this? How do people do this? It's not making sense, right? But people actually do it. They close the deal and then they find out the numbers doesn't work, and then they're stuck. They're stuck. They're absolutely stuck. So now the only option you have is you go to this realtor, you make an offer. You make an offer for whatever you think will make sense. Like how much would you want to make per month after $3,000 comes in, and you make your mortgage payment, your insurance, PITI, principal, interest, taxes, insurance. After you make those payments, how much would you like to be left? At least $0, right? Not negative, right? So it's not making sense. This is why retail rentals are broken. This is why they're broken. And yet, many people are getting in this trouble on a day-to-day basis. That's the case study. I'm going to bring case studies like that every week that we can dissect together. This is why they're broken. They're no longer working. Well, I don't know if they ever worked in But people have been getting, see, I got into the business by saving people from pre-foreclosures. I basically acquired a bunch of houses from pre-foreclosure. In this year, about 140,000 foreclosures have been recorded. It's not looking good if you want to go to the retail market. Okay, the rents are not justifying the prices that people are paying for those properties. You might say, are people paying for those properties? That's a good question. Let's take a look at this real quick, right? Well, first of all, when I click into the details of this property, this estimated value was actually gotten from the comparables of properties selling within the area. So if I go under comparables and nearby listings here, again, I'm using PropStream. You can get access. I'll link it in the description after the show. These are actual comparables that are selling in the area. So that's where they getting this math from. So properties are selling, 490, 565, but there was I saw a 700 earlier on. 590 is a 700 here. So in New Jersey here, there's something wrong with the data. It all says single family, but these are multi-units. Okay. So we can probably tweak that number to show it more accurately, but these numbers are, and as you can see, somebody has listed the property for $715,000. They're going to attempt to collect $715,000. So if I X this out, I go back under filters, I go back under MLS, and I say active under contract, and take out the active under contract. Okay, so nothing under contract, but let me see if I can find sold. Anything sold. There you go, sold. Let's see. Okay, so it's not showing sold. Let me see. I wonder why. Something is broken in this filter. Let me see. Yes, for sale. Okay, let me say no. Any. I'm just saying no, any here. There you go. That's why, because it says on markets. Yes. So these are all the sold properties on the market above 532. So there's a $819,000 here, Boston Avenue. I actually know that area. It's probably a brand new house too. It's probably built from scratch, right? So again, people are paying for this house. Why? Because they're counting on one day, someday, they're speculating that it will actually appreciate in value. Will it appreciate in value? Yes, it's been appreciated. Real estate historically has been appreciating in value. The question is that can they sustain the ownership of that property while it is appreciating in value? This one sold for 690. No, it's estimated value 698, but I think it's sold last sale 2025. Let's see what it sold for. MLS details, sold at $720,000. This house sold at $720,000. Okay, it looks like it might have been built brand new. Let me see. No, year built 1926. It's just newly renovated. It's sold for, so yeah, people are paying for these houses. They are, but I don't want you to pay for this kind of houses. That's the point here. I don't want you to pay for these houses. My says home prices are too high for it. It's too much, too much. So they're negative monthly until the values go up. Yeah, and how many people can sustain that? That's what we're talking about right now. Okay. How many people can sustain that? It's not likely that you can sustain it. All right, so let's keep going. We'll continue. Let's see here. So that was a case study I wanted to show you. Now, the secret number 2 is the wholesale assignment shortcut. That's what we need. So what does that mean exactly? So I kind of defined it earlier on, but it's very simple. We find properties at 50 to 70 cents on the dollar, 50 to 70% of retail. We create wholesale assignment deals and profit from cash up front. Okay, for the most part, we're going to find these deals and assign the deal to other people. We'll lock them up under contract. We assign it to other people for an assignment fee, $10,000 and up, averaging between $15,000 to $20,000 per deal. Positive net in your pockets. Okay, you keep that money to yourself. Okay. You keep it to yourself. Now, obviously, that's not wealth building. That's cash. You're probably going to use it to eat candy, right? But it puts you in a better position to, number one, you're in a position to find the best deals in the market, because now you have a machine that's looking for the best deals, right? And you're going to ultimately keep some of the best deals for yourself, right? But you're also going to pocket cash by helping other people find deals, okay? And some of these people that are buying this retail price, do you think they will purchase that property that they just bought for $720? Would they purchase it from you for $500,000? every day of the week. You found it for $400,000. You find it for 430. Why would anyone sell it to you for $430,000? I know you're asking that question. Why would anybody sell a property that's worth 720 for $430,000? Well, it's called motivated sellers. Sometimes it's called distressed properties. Sometimes they inherited the property they don't want. Sometimes they've owned the property for decades. They just want to get rid of it. Sometimes somebody died. Sometimes somebody's going through divorce, right? And they don't have time to fix up the property. How much is it going to cost to fix up the property? What is the pain of fixing up the property? It's going to cost $100,000 to fix up the property. They don't want to deal with that, right? So instead of them saying, well, 720 minus $100,000, is that how it works? No, that's not how it works. All right, it's 720 minus 35% of 720 minus the cost of repair. That's the maximum you can do. And potentially you can get it for much less, especially if you don't have any mortgage against the property. In fact, they don't want the headache with the property. In fact, they have tenants in the property, they don't want to deal with it. Well, the structure enough equity in it, you can pay people to deal with that. They can evict them out of the building, right? And they evict them out, they walk them out of the building in due time. You have enough in the equity to work that out, right? You don't have to deal with that personally. You can actually just assign the wholesale deal to investors who do this all the time. Or you can choose to say, you know what, I want to keep this as one of my rental portfolio. Well, not with bad tenants, right? So, but there's so much more you can do with it. So how do you find these deals? All right, that's a good question. So again, finding deals, phase one is marketing. So you guys might know, back then I used to send out what we call snail mail, right? Direct mailing. I literally sat down, my beautiful wife sat down with me, and we put letters together. We leaked them, put them together, letter that says we want to buy your houses, and we sent them out to all these different properties. Okay, properties in pre-foreclosures, property with high equity but vacant. Property has high equity. What does that mean? They don't have any much mortgage against it, but it's empty, it's vacant. It's something we call non-performing assets, right? They don't want the property. They don't know yet that they don't want it until you show up with your marketing and say, hey, I want to make you an offer on this property. Now, this is an operation. It's not a one-off thing. It's not a driving for dollar thing, right? It's not I saw a house with weed. And no, if you want to do it like that, you'll get exhausted out of the business. This is a full-blown operation, and you have to do it on a consistent basis for a minimum of 1 year. Within 6 months, I closed my first deal, $10,000. At that time, I probably spent, I don't know, $2,000 or so, maybe less. I didn't have money. I was working at FedEx. Part-time, and I was a student for the most of that year. So again, but in this time and age, we know better. We know, if I know what I know now, I will take it a little bit further than that. I will close a lot faster, right? I'll close a lot more deals faster. But again, you start from somewhere, right? All right, so phase one is marketing. During that phase, there's a process that takes data to contact. What do I mean by data? Well, data is basically what you're looking at on the screen right now. This is a data of properties already. So within Hillside, if I go ahead and clear all this filter that I set earlier on, and I go back to click on Hillside, New Jersey, just for example, okay? Hillside, New Jersey, I can see 91 properties on the MLS. There's 74 properties in pre-foreclosures. Okay, and there's 16 flipper agents. That usually means access to cash buyers. Another 274 cash buyers. Okay, we need cash buyers because those are the people we assign the wholesale deals to. You understand that as time goes on. There's something called high equity. These are property with very low mortgages against them. These are prospect properties. You can offer them. You can offer these people to buy the house, right? They're not on the market. There's only 91 of all the properties on the market, but 4,584 has high equity. If I click on this, right, it filters it down, right? And I can click on, let me see here, click on the filter, go into the filter, right? I have high equity, and then I can select, I think I can select free and clear, meaning they don't own anything against the property. They own the property free and clear. That's another candidate that we go after. Let's see, tire landlords, right? Tire landlords are people basically landlords that are most likely. Then we have vacant. The vacant data might not be accurate, okay, because it depends on how they feed data, but this is what I mean by data. So what we do is we flip this data into contact, meaning we contact them, or we set up marketing to get them to contact us, which is our favorite. We set up what we call inbound marketing, where we say we want to buy a house and we just wait for them to call us. That's our favorite because it doesn't cost us any headache, right? You can do the outbound, which is you pick up the phone and you start calling them. You skip trace the phone numbers of all these owners. You have access to the data. You skip trace and you start calling them. That's not my favorite. I don't enjoy cold calling people. Okay, and we don't do that. We do inbound marketing. We set up marketing because that's what I do. Marketing, digital marketing. I wrote the whole book on digital marketing, right? So those of you that know me, you know this other book right here, right? And we set it up, and we set up online ads everywhere. We set up online ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google ads. Google ads is quite expensive, but on Facebook ads, you set it up and you localize it, and then we get people to just call us. Okay, back in the days we used to put bandy signs on the, I don't know if you have those in your city. It says we buy houses on the corner at the stoplights, right? I've had cops call me before. Let me tell you the story. One day a cop called me. A cop means police called me from Linden, New Jersey, and said, go back there and take down all your signs right now. I made a lot of money from those signs, by the way. People see the sign and say, we buy houses. I have a house to get rid of. Because, well, today is the social media feeds. Okay, social media feeds. So we flip those data into contact. And what data? Well, we can also flip the data available on those social media platforms into people contacting us by zoning in on zip codes, and we can actually target a certain specific area, a certain radius of any location of your desires. And then we flip those contacts into lead. Lead means they show interest, meaning they are saying, yes, I want to sell. Whenever they say yes, they show the interest. That means, yes, I want to sell. And obviously we go into some kind of negotiations at that point once they say yes. But that's basically the first phase right there. The first phase is marketing. Or again, access to data. Just go to myempirepro.com/propstream, and at I can also link in the description later on. But phase 2 is acquisition. Phase 2 is acquisition. This is a full-blown operation. So much information on the homes. Yes, you have access to everything. It's free trial, but I think it's $97 after the first month. Free trial for 30 days. This software. Okay. All right. So phase 2 is acquisition. What do we do in acquisition? Well, we go through the phase of from lead to a contract. Okay, we lock in a contract with them. We actually sign up a sales contract that says, hey, you agree to sell this house to me. This house, I know what it's worth. I've done my math, right? I've done the analysis using PropStream, right? And I know what it's worth. I know it's worth $720,000. But I made you an offer for $300,000. You said, I'll walk away for $350,000. And I said, $350 is good for you? I said, okay, yeah, sure. And then we lock up a sales contract, a purchase contract. That purchase contract gives me what we call an equitable interest in the property. I can now sell that equitable interest to other people. That's what we call assignment. And then after you now have a piece of paper in your hands, that's what 16, 17, 18, $30,000. Now we have to go into phase 3. We call the disposition. This is the operation right here. So there are 3 mini operations within it, right? So it's called a disposition. This is where we decide what we want to do with this property. You want to kill it? You want to keep it for your? Do you want to keep it for your whatchamacallit? Do you want to keep it for your rental portfolio, or you just want to assign it to other people for a quick $16,000 cash, right? What would you do for your first few deals? Well, what did I do for my first 31 deals? She asked me, right? Of course, candy, money, right? So so disposition is you now turn those contracts into deals closed. Okay, so this is how we're finding some of these deals. This is how we're finding those deals. And again, we're building a community now. Okay, no longer, this is it. It's as simple as this. I sold courses on this, but I have a free course on the channel. It's very simple, but we're trying to build a community of people who are interested in this game. It's a game. It's a beautiful game. You pick up all those properties, $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, and you close deals and you keep the money, or you can start building your rental portfolio. But you right now, after what I just said today, you should never ever find yourself going to the retail market to go and buy rental properties. not when the market looks like this, not when the rent payment is not catching up to the value of those properties. The value of those properties are what they are, because there's demands, and then there's also there are forces forcing those prices to be where they are. People thought the market was going to crash, but it ain't happening, right? So, but and don't expect it to crash any further. The only thing that's going to happen is that the rent is continuing to increase, by the way. So all of us are going to pay rent, by the way. You're going to pay rent, or you're going to pay a mortgage somehow, some way. So all of us are involved in this. Okay. So you can join the private group. I created a private group for this. You might find yourself being the first person in it. Don't worry, we're going to build it. More people are going to come inside looking at what we're doing. Just go to myempirepro.com/network. It's free. I'm not selling anything. It's free. This is just create a network of people who want to play this game, or people want to hang out on the fence for a little while before they play. I understand that as well. Okay, but this is something we're going to be doing, and we're going to be sharing more and more activities inside of those group. Okay, all right. So now, secret number 3 is building an empire together. Okay, building an empire together. So like I just said, one of my biggest mistakes is that I did this alone for a long time. And even when the market crashed, I forgot to tell you, the market crashed and wiped me out in 2008. You remember the credit crunch, the market crash? Yes, I was dead in the middle of that. Okay, and there was quite a few threats even against my enemy. Because some of the people in my circle were also doing some of the wrong things because they were desperate, and there was greed and stuff like that. But anyway, that market crashed and wiped me out at that time. One of my greatest mistakes is not bringing forces together, my friends, family, my close circle, and doing things together, because we would have done so much more, right? And we're going to fix that right now. Okay, so we're going to build empire together, and that takes us to the process number 5, which is from closing to scaling. We want to do big things. We want to do it much larger. We want to do it much more larger and bigger, right? Because again, there's no one tree that makes a forest. Okay, it just doesn't exist. One tree don't make a forest. No matter where you go, the people that do this successfully, they also work together with other people. Okay, so I want to tell you that's something that we're fixing. So that will be the greatest mistake I've ever made, and now we're going to fix that. So when we combine expertise, the digital marketing resources with each other individually, okay, but also together, it creates multiple streams of profit for all of us, right? Again, by no means, this is still individual, but still joining forces together, bringing resources together to make things happen. Okay, and that's what this next phase of our business, our real estate business, is about. Then you get access to properties with built-in equity at the very minimum, because some of you might say, yeah, I don't want to be a part of the wholesale thing, but I want to know when those discounted deals come so I can purchase them, right? Again, go back and join my empirepro.com/network. It's a WhatsApp group. Get yourself inside that immediately. All right. Now, so for those of you that are ready, you want to get going, the 3 phases of this operation I shared with you is a full-time activity. Okay, so let me just be honest with you. It's a full-time activity. Having to set up campaign, you have to know what you're doing. You have to set up the funnels, right? You have to make sure that the funnel is connected to phone numbers that are routed properly so that you can also answer those calls. You have to know what you're doing when it comes to acquisition, in terms of negotiation, learning how to analyze a piece of property. I will continue to share with you here, by the way, how to do that for free. But experience is still the best teacher, right? And that's what we bring to the table. We bring 20 years of experience. This is a family business for us. My brother, my father is involved. So this is something we've done for a long time. And we did have phases that was quiet, but we never really left the business, and that comes with a certain level of wisdom that I wish I could teach you in black and white on paper. It's just not, right? But there's nothing wrong if you want to learn it on your own. It's all doable. It's simple. It's just not easy, right? So disposition, the contacts, we have the contacts. We know how to talk to some of the title companies, because once you have a piece of contract and somebody's interested in taking it off your hand for an exchange of $10,000, you need to know how to communicate with title companies and lawyers that will make sure that the transaction goes smooth. How to bring, sometimes you need resources like hard money lender, sometimes you need private money, sometimes you want to use a mortgage. Depends on the deal, right? You need to know what you're doing, because that's where the money is, at the disposition level. You see what I'm saying? So that's where we can partner with you. So if you're interested in partnering with us, we have different parallels of lanes of partnership that we're creating. So if you want to partner with us, we'll create your own lane, but we handle all the work. When it comes to marketing, acquisition, disposition, we handle all of that. Okay. And then basically we split profit 50-50 if it's wholesale deals. Okay, we split profit again. Minimum is $10,000 for any deal, but we split profit 50-50 when we do close wholesale deals. And of course you get first rights of refusal in if you choose to keep some of those properties in your rental portfolio, but you're no longer out there paying $720,000 for a property that can only bring in $3,000 a month. Doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so if you're interested in the partnership, the minimum investment for your first 1 year is $10,000, right? And that money goes towards purely marketing. It's a marketing that's $25 a day. We're going to spend it on online ads, but we run everything. We're fully transparent. We're going to give you monthly reports of how things are going, including how we handle calls and things like that. Also, you get to learn in the process. We can also route some of those calls if you want to practice your ability to talk on the phone with sellers, with motivated sellers. We can work it out anyhow, but that's the first step. It's $10,000 to invest into the first year of marketing, and we kind of run everything for you. We set up the funnels, we set up the marketing, we set up the marketing campaign. It covers all of the marketing for the first year. Okay, now you might say, what about projection? We'll talk about projection in a second. Okay, but if you're interested in that, you need to book a call. You schedule a partner strategy session at myempirepro.com/partners. So I'm rounding up right now. I personally use PropStream for every analysis as you've seen here. That's what I use, okay? And that's the link right there. And if you're ready to take the next step, those are the links right there. It's always scrolling to the screen. But I wanted to show you this as a quick recap of what we're looking at, okay? Again, the old way of real estate is broken, okay? Let me post this so you can look at this easy. I'm going to post this into the chat so you can look at it on your own time. Oluremi, hello, how are you doing? All right, so that's the link to what you're looking at on the screen. Okay, so the market reality for new investors: 140,000 homes in foreclosure in the first half of 2025 alone. Okay, that number is increasing 7% year over year. These people can't afford these houses. They roll back into, guess who's not losing money? The system is not losing money. You're losing money. You're losing time, right? And many of them end up with a $1,500 in monthly negative cash flow, as I've shown you here today. And this is our proven 3-stage process. Again, digital marketing, acquisition, digital marketing. We target ads to find motivated sellers. Number 2, acquisition. We secure deals at 50 to 70 cents on a dollar. That's the acquisition right there. We focus on keeping it simple like this. And the disposition, we all sell for cash or keep for rent. Okay. Again, if you're interested, a single $10,000 investment funds the entire operation for 12 months. And we profit deals 50-50. We handle everything. Okay. Again, you have the options. I will continue to teach this for free. It's simple, okay? And I have a free course on the page if you want to do it on your own. This is for people who say, I don't have the time. And of course, I'd rather leverage your experience, And there are courses that are being sold for $35,000 on this out there. They're out there. Trust me, okay? All right, so we have your investments goes toward paid advertising, the funnel system setup, and the operations. That's what it goes towards. Now, here's a projected partnership growth. This is just for example purposes, just for illustration purposes. This does not directly indicate your own results. Okay, it might be more, it might be less, but this is what we've seen over the last 20 years, right? So based on the conservative estimation of closing 4 deals per year, you invest $10,000 and you can see it go, because you're keeping a lot of the cash and you're only buying rental properties that has built-in equity and positive cash flow on the front end. Okay, that's all that can ever enter your portfolio from day one. Okay, if it doesn't fit that criteria, you don't have to. And some of them you might say, oh, it's breaking even. I have enough cash coming in because of the wholesale operation. Maybe it's to start cash flow in the next 2 years. Maybe you refinance, but at least you have cushions. You have a safety net, a wiggle room, plus the network of investors to actually know how to work this out. Most people don't know what they're doing. They just get into this game and they lose a lot of money. Here's the investment path, right? So if you're looking at the very blue, let me blow this up a little bit. Okay. All right, so the blue bar right there is basically the rental portfolio. You can see it's negative for like the first few years, okay? But eventually, if you have enough money to keep servicing the loans, it will go up, right? A lot of people are going to get stifled out. They're going to get choked out in that time period, and they're going to lose their house to foreclosure. Okay, that's already happening. Okay, and a lot of the houses that are acquired in those years were people that basically got in trouble. Some of them will end up watching this video and they know exactly what I'm talking about, because they end up with not just negative cash flow but negative equity, and they were forced into foreclosure, and then we went to negotiate short sale, we call it short sales, with their bank, because their bank now finally realized that they're owing much more than the property is actually worth too. So the bank is also just as stuck as the homeowner, and then we present a very nice package to them, and then they look at the numbers, and then they negotiate a short sale with us. They give us the house almost for free. All right, that's another story for now. It's called short sale. It's in the book, Real Estate Money Secrets. But that's one of the taxes that we can use when it's right. All right, so most people, you see that line at the bottom of the graph, that line is going to keep pulling them below the graph. That's what's going to happen to most people. See this line? This line is literally attempting to pull the blue line down the graph. 30 years, right? Most of them are just going to get caught out and get rid of the property prematurely. The purple, what is this, like lavender? What is that, like a pink? That pink bar is going up and up right from the beginning. That's the person that knows how to do this the smart way, with doing it by themselves, wholesale by themselves, or they can partner with us. Like I told you, I will continue to share this here from time to time, so you can see me actually start to optimize some of the videos. But this is what we're doing, okay? And your roadmap: first wholesale deal, first rental acquisition, and then scaling the operation. And a lot of people bought into the idea of what they call the bar strategy, right? A lot of gurus were selling the bar strategies for a long time. What is you ask, what is the bar strategy? Oluremi say, is it the monthly investment? No, that's a one time for 1 year. The first year is $10,000. It's a one time for 1 year. Somebody might say, hey, can we break it down to months? No, sorry. You can break it down to months. You can break it down to months by running the operation on your own. You just spend 20, you set up the campaign, set up your funnels. Hopefully you know how to set up your campaign properly. It's just a learning curve to it. You can, okay? So learning curve to it, you spend $25 or more per day online. That's a good way to chop it up, you know. Some people might choose to do that, you know, that's okay. But if you want to leverage our experience and our systems, then we charge you nothing. You just kind of drop in the money for 1 year upfront, and then we partner with you, and then we ensure. And remember, I told you the biggest mistakes I've made is not doing business with people, you know, because there's nobody that can't leverage other people's resources. That's something that I had to learn the hard way over time. You don't have to wait to learn that over time. So what happened in the first 3 deals? Remember, I told you I closed my first deal by myself. The next 3 deals, which kind of came in through at the same time, I partnered with other people, and then like the fourth deal, I started doing it on my own. And I just wished I had continued some level of partnership and collaboration. If you look at the corporate world today, everything is about collaborations. Everything is about collaboration. Why? Because leverage is the name of the game, and that's something we're waking up to, and we're going to do with the right people. So that's how that works. Okay. So if you're ready to take the next step, become my Empire Pro wholesale partner, all you have to do first of all, I have to screen you, make sure, because I don't want you to drop your last card either, right? There's some questions, serious questions I'm going to ask you to make sure you're fit for the program, and then we'll walk you through the process. But book a free private screening first, but you need to know that the initial investment is $10,000 first. So simply go to myempirepro.com/partners. If you have any questions, I'll wait around for another 60 seconds, then I'll call it a day, because I will be back next week to talk more about this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask over the next 60 seconds. If not, we'll call it a day. Because me, I've had a long day. A very long day. And it's Friday, and I want to go and spend the rest of it with the family. If you know what I mean. All right. So we got 55 more seconds. If you have any questions, feel free to ask as we're shutting down the show for tonight. And I will link all the resources in the description right now before I leave this table. That way you can always access it from there. Feel free to ask questions. You can also use the comment section to ask questions in case you watch this later. But I wanted to keep this within 60 minutes so that everybody can, have enough. Or just right there, sweet spots, just enough. All right. Okay, let's see here. Mario says this was informative. Shout out to Mario. Thank you, Mario. Appreciate you. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next one. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. Make sure you share this with somebody. Share it with someone. I will talk to you guys very, very soon. I'll share some more stuff with you next week. Bye now.